Truth is that we know a lot of leaders out there who are not vulnerable, yet they are in leadership roles. And so my question to a lot of the CEOs was, hey, look, do you have to be vulnerable in order to be a leader? The answer was no. You don't have to be vulnerable to be a leader. You have to be vulnerable to be a great leader. In other words, if you just want to be put into a leadership role and you want to be a mediocre leader and get by and stuff like that, you can probably do whatever you want. In fact, you could stay at a company for a long time, maybe close a couple big deals, you get put into a leadership role. Hey, there you go. You don't have any vulnerability, but you're in a leadership role. But if you want to be a great leader, you want to be able to make change happen. You want to be able to impact the lives of those around you. You want to be able to unlock the potential of the people that you work with and for. You want to be able to create trust. You want to go above and beyond and solve complex problems. The general consensus from all the 100 CEOs I interviewed is that you cannot do that unless you add the vulnerability piece into leadership. And this has been a very interesting change because if you look at the past 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 plus years, look at the era of Jack Welch as he was coming up in the corporate world. There used to be this assumption that you didn't need vulnerability. It was actually bad for you. And I would agree with that, right? In the 80s, 90s, with the era of Jack Welch, vulnerability wasn't talked about. I mean, Fortune was writing magazines on the world's toughest bosses, and it was considered to be a badge of honor to be on the cover of that magazine or to work for one of those types of bosses that had no vulnerability. They would throw stuff at you. They would scream at you. They would just put you down. It's like, yeah, that's the tough, that's the badge of honor. And so there's a theory in psychology called mismatch theory. And it basically states that attributes, behaviors, qualities that you once had, which were beneficial to you, now become detrimental to you as the environment around you suddenly changes. And this is exactly what we're seeing in the world of business and in the world of leadership. The tough guy or girl approach, the lack of vulnerability, the don't show emotion, the commanding control. This used to be how business got done. And in fact, you could say that it used to be beneficial. This was widely accepted in the corporate world. But what started to happen is the environment around us suddenly changed. And it was sudden, right? I mean, we're looking at like 5-10 years. We live in a completely different world. Our environment changed so quickly that these behaviors, the attributes, the qualities that we once led with are now actually detrimental to our leadership success. So what this means is that leaders out there have a choice that they need to make. Do you want to continue to implement these outdated ways of leading that are now actually hurting you, your business, your team? Or are you willing to adapt and adjust as needed because the environment around you has changed?